Order all your half-shell favorites for takeout or delivery. Visit www.halfshelloysterhouse.com to browse the familiar menu and place your delivery or takeout order in minutes. Same menu prices, just a $5 flat delivery fee every time at Half Shell Oyster House, located at 115 Laurel Park Cove, Suite 105, Flowood, Mississippi, 39232, or you can give us a call at 769-257-7586. And oh yeah, tell them Sonia sent you.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports. Please welcome JSU legend, former linebacker for the Buffalo Bills, and newly JSU Hall of Famer, Marlo Perry. Hey Marlo, how are you doing?
I am doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Before we get started, do you understand? I have known Sabrina, your wife, since freshman year at Jackson State, and this is my first time ever uttering a word to you, ever. We've never talked. I don't think we've ever said hello. That is so weird to me, but because I be with Sabrina when she comes home, but you be with your friends at homecoming and different games, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think also I am kind of for those who do know me, I'm more just to myself. I'm fine just being in the background
The
of things.
opposite of Sabrina.
Correct. Yeah. Definitely that would be the case that a lot of people would say. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, we're speaking now, so that's all that matters. Tell Sabrina I said hello, please.
I certainly will.
But let's get started. I always ask this question to athletes because it's very I'm just curious as to how you guys started whatever sport you started. So how did your love for football begin?
Quite honestly, I've my father and my mother met at Jackson State. My father played football at Jackson State. So his nickname was fullback, and it was he was a coach also. So even though he coached a lot and spent a lot of time, coached a lot of different sports, from basketball to football, boxing, track and field.
Wow.
He was first coach to integrate into my high school, of Scott Central High School right there in Forest Scott County, Coach Marlo Perry, the third. That was his true name. So I've always been around sports my whole life. My mother played basketball and was pretty good. So I was told. And so sports and being around a bunch of group of people, a bunch of group of athletes and students in classroom has never not been, or family members have never not been part of my day-to-day life, even on Saturdays, even on Sundays, going to church and being around a large group of, people.
Right, that's amazing. So because you were around so many different sports, what gravitated you to football? Well, because you got the size for it. So did you have the talent at that time, or?
And honestly, my first love in terms of sports is basketball. That's truly my first love in terms of sports is basketball. Growing up, and it's basically all you need is the anything resemblance of a hoop, and anything halfway with some air in it of a ball.
Right, you was ready.
Football is a little bit more intricate in
Right.
terms of measuring up lines and who's going to be on who team and the football, and we playing two-hand touch or tackle and all of that. And
Wow.
growing up in the country, you love football, and that's where everybody is at on Fridays. Uh,
Right.
and essentially, we even used to have some people that would play in a band
Mhm.
and halftime put on their band uniform and then put back on the football
Are you
uniform.
serious? Wow.
Absolutely, just because the love for sports was
Wow.
just that much ingrained, and so that's what was part of it. But like I said, my love was always there for basketball. I even went to camps at Jackson State
Mhm.
with basketball, and me and Alexander Gilmore, Fernando Smith, we were the only three freshmen 2 weeks after graduating high school. Jackson State had us in summer school at Jackson State before any other freshmen come there.
Wow.
And during that summer, now when we was practicing with the football team, when we had an opportunity, we would go over to the AAC or wherever when we had free time, and
Mhm.
I got to know a bunch of the basketball players and would work out and train with them. Free time, not during scheduled practices or anything like that, or their practices, but we spent a lot of time playing basketball just because we loved it so much.
That's interesting. Wow. So what made you end up going to football? I mean,
Well, I think I would have loved to try to do both, but um, let me back up a little bit. My freshman year in high school, I was starting, not playing both ways in football, but I was starting at cornerback, and I was playing basketball also. But of course, like I said, that's my first love
mhm,
in terms of sports. So I went to my father and I told him I was going to quit football simply because I was getting tired of the headaches and scratches. And everybody, as a freshman, you get to a certain level um, used as a dummy. You know what I
okay.
mean? There's
Mhm,
a time in the sport where your body is still not growing into this full development. You don't know a lot of the techniques and so forth. You don't know what to expect. You just out there as a body and get more or less taken advantage of. That's just part of it, which makes you listen to the coach more. So I told my father that I was going to quit because I was getting tired of the scratches, bumps, bruises, being muddy, musty, stinky every day, not wanting to come home afterwards, do homework, tired, all of that. And he simply told me that, son, you're not going to stop playing just because you don't know what God has in store for you in terms for, I just wanted to play basketball
mhm,
at the time. And it was a lot of wisdom in him not letting me stop. Plus, if I would have stopped playing, I'm quite sure a lot of my other friends would have stopped playing. And we went in as a group
mhm,
to play as freshmen. And ended up doing well. Matter of fact, we took our team the farthest it had ever been at that time. And now the guys they're coming off back-to-back championships, state championships, and have won multiple state championships. Scott Central has. But another thing is this: I had an older cousin of mine,
mhm,
so I was a little boy, always been going to Jackson State, probably like third, fourth, fifth grade. I was there in the stands cheering for his name is Jimmy Perry, and we all called him Robbie. And he played safety in the game. We called him Ace. His number was 25. So that's my first idol, quote unquote, in life.
okay.
I always tell him that I don't have any idols, but if I had one, it would be him. Uh,
Wow.
and from Waycross, Georgia, is where he's from. And he met his wife at Jackson State as well.
So it's a
Yeah,
family tradition for
it
y'all to
is.
meet y'all wives.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Yep. I have so many family. That's not there. I can keep going with. I have a cousin who's the same age as me. He went to Jackson State, met his wife. My sister went there and met her ex-husband, so I can keep going with other family members that have gone there. And that's what I mean by we truly believe blue in my family.
Mhm. That's awesome. So,
Mhm.
well, my next question was, asking you what made you choose Jackson State, but you've answered that for me. You've been around it all your life. It's
Hmm.
a part of your lineage. I mean, your history, your family, your parents. So that's that question. So, as you know, Coach W.C. Gorden, he was not only a JSU legendary coach, he was a legendary coach across all conferences, as far as I'm concerned. Won't you agree?
Oh,
He
absolutely.
he was
And
amazing. Go ahead. I'm
mhm,
sorry. Go ahead.
mhm. The one thing I would say about Coach Gordon was this: he was he gave great interviews, so he was like a media darling, which
Mhm.
kind of helps out in terms of promoting and head coaching. The interviews he gave always stood out. So Coach Gordon, him being a head coach, he didn't necessarily coach us as defensive players. Our coach was always Big Daddy Carson. And Big Daddy Carson he didn't care anything about TV and media interview. He just wanted us to get this mission and job done. You know,
Right.
uh, Big Daddy Carson shared, uh, help me to become that of a man behind doing things the proper way, regardless if he sees you or not. You know, that's
I like that.
it's yeah. If he sees you or not, he's gonna know if you have done it the proper way. You know, when the time for the test, when the time is most critical, he's
Mhm.
gonna know if you've done things the proper way. Yeah,
That's awesome. And it's funny how you're a great interview because you're answering all the questions I haven't even asked yet. And I
yeah.
love that. But I'm gonna go back to what you said about WC Coach Gordon. You said he promoted, he was good at interviewing. That's interesting that you said that because there was no social media back then. There was nothing like that. So he had to have that charisma to even, like, because kids didn't see him all. It was either, you saw it on the news or, you read it in the newspaper. That was it. So for, that's pretty amazing because you see how Coach Prime, he is a marketing genius and he knows what to do to get players in. But just back then, 30 years ago,
Mhm.
there was no social media. And you said a mouthful of what you just said. It was the man that who he was. That's what he did. That's amazing.
Mhm.
So so what was something I know you didn't work closely with Coach Gordon. However, what was something that he taught you, something in life that is a lesson that you still kind of deal with today or use today rather?
Um, I would say the head person don't get on their bad side.
Mhm.
Don't make them come out of character
Mm,
because you feel you want to do things a different way.
yes.
Don't make the head person in charge um more or less um come off their the bench to straighten you out or to
Mm,
put you back in place because it's really going to be ugly. Along with a lot of the um, things that mold you as a man, uh, you have to be able. A lot of times today, a lot of kids and youth, they are worried about somebody hurting their feelings, somebody disrespecting
mhm.
them, somebody saying the wrong thing to them. Um, I learned what uh, the coaches can motivate you uh, 3 to 4 different ways. They can motivate you uh, by potential playing time.
Mhm.
They can motivate you by accolades or cheering you on. They can motivate you by your family being honored. And they can motivate you also by embarrassing you. And at certain period of times of an athlete or of a man's life, you sometimes need coaches are going to try uh, every single way possible.
Mhm.
Not every individual um, can easily be motivated by playing time or accolades
Right.
or by whatever it might be. And coaches a lot of times didn't have, although they were psychologists, they didn't have the luxury of time
Mhm.
like that. So sometimes the method of motivation would be embarrassing you or getting on you harshly.
Right.
And going through that, it 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 made me not only came up with some great names that guys still have nicknames to this day,
Mhm.
which is funny. We all essentially grew a harder shell in terms of
Mhm.
we're not concerned about if somebody just in my face cussing me out. It's not going to get me, quote, I'm just saying that for me personally, it's not going to get me out of character. I
Gotcha.
can take hard criticism. I can take someone um, getting on to me for the better good of everything. Um, Chastisement would be a best word to say about it. And as long as the job gets accomplished, we can make up later, you
That's
know?
right.
Mhm.
Marlo, it's so interesting. Two things about what you just said, um, especially about the like coaching was totally different from the way it is now. We know
Mhm.
that it's very different. I almost want to say soft, but
Mhm.
I talked. Lewis Tillman was on the show last month, and it's funny. I like to talk to different players who play for the same coach. And he said, I asked him the same question. What was something coach taught him? And he said he was a disciplinarian. He said, but one of the things that I mainly still do today, coach loved jazz. And that's what I'm a jazz head now because of him. But you mentioned about the disciplinarian, and you know what happened with the player from Alabama State this past Saturday. Did you hear about what happened after the game? They lost to FAMU in Tallahassee, and apparently and that's you've been seeing that a lot, even in basketball game, NBA games, fans talking to the players, and the players, they don't know how to just walk away. Well, he didn't walk away. He's trying to walk into the stand, and the security guard, it's been all over the news. Security guard is pushing him back because she's doing her job, and he hits her in the face, punches her. He gets arrested. He has been suspended indefinitely off the team, as he should. However, these kids now have to really, it's like, it's either you have no respect for authority, and she had authority at that point. And it's like, no, she's trying to protect you as well as to protect the fans.
Mhm.
And it's just different now. I don't understand what we need to do as far as the players are just some of them are kind of out of control. We need a little more, and I'm not saying cussing in their face, because they're
Mhm.
not used to that. They are not used to that, and they will break most of them because it's just a different generation from when we grew up. Even like, and I'm gonna move on, but I have to, even like when back in the day, like I'm almost 6 feet tall, but nobody chose me to play at home. When we play basketball, because I can't play.
Mhm.
And I was always last. My sister is 5'5" and was a dynamite. She played in junior high school, but nobody chose me. But I did not try to kill myself. I did, but now these days they're getting awards just because they played, even though they lost. And I don't think that's right. Kids need to know you're not going to win at everything. It's not your, I don't get it, but I just, interesting to me, that what you just said about Coach Gordon, and, Lewis said the same thing, disciplinarian, but he loved y'all. And that was the main thing. He wanted to see you do well. And
Right.
that's the beautiful thing about it.
And you know what's so amazing what you just said? I never put the pieces of that puzzle together because I would never call myself a jazz head, right? So I've never purchased any per se, but I do have some. And when I'm having a very stressful day, to the point of I need to block some things out and really focus and concentrate. Those are three of the two things I'm gonna have on, either some classical music, some jazz, or some gospel.
I love it.
In order to block out, to clear out, to get some discernment, and get some incitement, to clear my mind, to focus from a different perspective. But I never put the pieces of that puzzle and made the
That's
connection with
interesting.
Gordon with that. And also with Coach Gordon for as a quote unquote pristine and upholding that he looked. One thing you did not want to do is get him outside of that image you had of him and him having to come and get in somebody's face. You will see a whole nother side,
Whole other side of him that you
whole
did
other
not want to see.
side that and chances are whoever saw it more than likely had it coming. More than likely.
And you know what? But it says a lot about his character because he
Yeah.
tried to hold that in as
Yeah.
much as he could. And like you said, if they got it, they got it for a real reason. Yeah, he is always, I've met him since he's been, before he passed away, he was much older, and of course he was way calm, and because he was
Oh
one of
yeah,
away from
smooth,
the game of
smooth,
football. He
smooth.
granddaddy now. Yeah, he's just relaxing. And so
Yeah.
I never got to meet that Coach
Mhm.
Gordon that you guys knew. I mean, I was at school, but I didn't
Mhm.
hang around the football. I didn't know. So, but
Mhm.
that's good to know. So, Marlo, you already told me what Coach Big Daddy Carson taught you. And we,
Mhm.
we do a lot of recognition for Coach W.C. Gordon, rightfully so, rightfully so. Let's talk about Big Daddy's Big Daddy as a DC. What is his impact on Jackson State brand of football?
It was a lot of just close your mouth and play. Just close your mouth and play. And I always had the attitude of let me not relish in whatever just happened, because as we know, the game is not over.
Right.
It's only one play. And what difference if you make a great play on the defensive side and the next 2 or 3 plays later, the offense scores a touchdown, that we'll still lose the game.
Right.
So I'm always worried about the next play, and I never really wanted to celebrate too much in one play, because sometimes that might get, you know, some retribution some type of way from the team on down later on in the game. And that's
Right.
what I was always concerned about, because the game ain't over.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. That's good. So, Big Daddy has a Black College National Championship under his belt. Do you feel like his face should also be adorned on the JSU's equipment truck? I'm not bidding them against each other. It's just like he did some amazing things as well. He's a legend in his own right.
Yeah, I think it's definitely room for a conversation for the powers that be with it. Of course, the head coach gets the gets a lot of the things, rightfully so, because when the ship is bad, they get a lot of the blame.
That's true.
Also, um, I and then we can do other coaches as well, that were so great. But we, as far as myself, it was always Big Daddy with us. He really just made us think introspectively in terms of thinking about this moment in time and never taking it for advantage, and making sure you use and give all you can, because we don't know what that next day or next year or next season might look like or how it can be. And just because you're here right now don't mean you are going to be here the next time in the classroom setting, or the next day or next month. He just made us appreciate each and every opportunity to give our all with everything. He didn't say many words. He was the type of coach that for his size and stature, when he spoke with that raspy voice, he only gonna say it a few times, and he
Mhm.
doesn't have to say it a lot of times to get his points across.
Mhm.
It's really is amazing when someone who doesn't look the part, you never see them lash out or hit or strike. You never see them running, lifting a weight, nothing. But their words and how they use them motivated and got every drop of sweat possible out of their players. It's really
That's
something
good.
to admire.
That says a lot about him and his character as well, and how how you all came to him and understood his energy, and did what you needed to do, get those wins, because we had a lot of wins back then. That's for sure. That is for sure. But before I move on, did you went to the game Saturday, correct? To the WC
Yeah.
Classic. So what are your thoughts on the team? This is Coach TC's first year. He's a Jackson alum, also, a fellow football player from Jackson State. What are your thoughts on the team? And I know we got a lot of work to do, but what are your thoughts?
Um, I'm happy we got the win. Um, we need a great amount of improvement on the special team side.
Yes.
Um, they're it's gonna come along with them. They're gonna work of them. I have faith in them being able to put everything together.
Yeah.
It's I'm not one to be really critical unless I'm inside. So I'm
Gotcha.
inside of their meetings. I'm
Hmm.
not inside of a lot of things, and we are prideful Jacksonians
Yes, we
who
are.
want it done right now.
Ooh, my
We
I
want
will
it
not give a
done right
person a
now,
chance.
right now, right now.
We are so prideful, and because we are. Don't nobody want to hear it, but we the cream of the swag. I mean, they can say what they want, but we
Yeah.
really are.
From
So,
the fan perspective, from the
well,
historic
okay,
perspective,
fine.
that's who we are as the
Yes,
Jacksonians, who, everything about them. You have some guys in the stands that you swear up and down they can tell you more football than
I
anybody
know.
in the studio. You have
Anybody. My
some
daddy was one
grandmothers
of them.
that know it.
My daddy was one of them. He would be,
So
coaching the games, and I understand. Trust me, that is hilarious.
uh,
But yeah, we have to give him time as well.
mhm,
We lost 60 players. We have a whole new
mm.
football team pretty much. We have a whole new staff, coaching staff. So they have to have time to gel. So
Man, I
we have
didn't
this
know that
bye week.
about 60
Hmm?
players.
Yeah,
Man.
60. So, this bye week, we're off this
Oh
week,
yeah, that's right. Yep.
thankfully. So
Mhm.
that'll give them some time. We have our first, she's the first SWAC, we believe, female kicker
Mhm.
from California. She had an ACL surgery a few months ago, so that was her first time kicking. I think she said in a few months. So I think hopefully she'll, be a help to our special teams. But yeah, we definitely need help, and I'm hoping things go well. October 7th when we go to Huntsville, yeah, Alabama A&M.
Alabama A&M. Mhm.
Hmm. Well, I
Yeah,
think we play Mobile. We play
kudos to
Mobile.
them, man. That's even history and breaking ground and levels on a whole new barrier
Whole
with
new
that.
bit.
And
That's
I didn't even
amazing.
know that until I was walking out towards the car, and I think my mother-in-law or somebody mentioned something about it, the
Mhm.
kicker or something, some point in time. Oh, the next morning. Yeah, the next morning, I didn't even know that until she mentioned it to me at breakfast the next morning. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's amazing. That is truly amazing. I've seen a couple of female kickers on football teams lately. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I think her name is Liliana. I forgot her last name, but I think it's Liliana. But yeah, we wish her well. And
Yes,
of
we do.
our beloved
Absolutely.
Tigers. Marlo, you were drafted in the third round to the Buffalo Bills and spent your entire NFL career with them until you had an injury that ended your career. In your wildest dreams as a little boy from Forest, Mississippi, did you ever think that you would make it to the NFL? Seriously, did you ever think
Nah.
that?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Nah,
When did it start coming true for you?
maybe around not until senior
Okay.
year.
Mhm.
Because I what I had happened, guys that I felt that were better than me, at Jackson State, I would see them go free agent tryouts and maybe be there for a year, maybe be there for 2 years, something like that. And
Mhm.
uh, of course, there was a few guys, like Darian Connor, first round draft pick, who just off the charts and everything, at the time, uh, have his longevity. I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket.
Okay.
So I remember telling Coach Carl Roberts, quote unquote, Big C, he was asking me something. I've never been weight strong, so in the weight room, and that was not only him coaching offensive line, he was
Mhm.
a strength coach. So I remember telling him one day, because he was really on me hard, something in the weight room, and he asked me about my future. Something I said I plan on working and having a job with a suit and tie and a briefcase and going downtown. Even at that time, senior junior year, that
Right.
was my plan 'cause my major was mathematics, pre-engineering. So I forgot what he said in reply to that, but it was something along the lines of him wanting to push me
Mhm.
more, get more out of me, push me along going toward the NFL. But that was my reply for him. So I never wanted to put all my eggs in one basket, because even though it was a dream, it's just like anything else in life. You don't get satisfied just with getting drafted, right? And a lot of people don't know this. So you won't get satisfied just for getting drafted. You're happy, you're blessed to get drafted. So then
Mhm.
you want to go from becoming drafted to making the team, the 53-man roster, what have you. Then you want to go from that, from getting a lot more playing time, from a lot more playing time to becoming a starter, then a starter to becoming more stats and
Mhm.
being, whether it's the most tackles on the team or most interception on the teams or most sacks on the team. You want to do that. Then you want to go to from that to making Pro Bowls, and then from making a Pro Bowl to consistently making Pro Bowls. So
Mhm.
it's things once even you get to the NFL that you still have goals that you don't
True.
necessarily
Right.
get accomplished all the time. So you're
Mhm.
not satisfied just with being on a team. You have just personal goals that you a lot of time never mention to anyone or any way. Some guys might write them down, some guys just keep them in the back of their head. But those are the things you want to level up on in terms of a career. And I'm thankful, thank God that I could have played 6 years, had such a major injury. Nobody could tell that I have a lot of metal in my lower left egg from a metal plate and about 8 screws that go all the way across, because I end up getting my lower left fibula shattered and dislocated all at the same time. And the Music City Miracle game, that was January 8th of 2000. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing, because I mean, it's just, you have been playing so long, playing football for so long, and it's, first of all, it's a blessing, like you said, to just you were with the team for 6 years, and that's hard to do in the NFL. A lot of people don't know that, but a lot of people move from team to team sometimes,
Yeah.
and that's in NFL, that's a long career. Almost. Is that not right?
Nah, it's like 3.5, definitely not 4 years.
Right.
The average NFL career, they've I always said it meant for, not for long, was what the NFL, the first letters meant,
Not for
um,
long.
yeah. And then a lot of times, if you certain superstars, quote unquote, that if you haven't seen them or what happened to them, a lot of times it's injuries like that that have kind of affected a year, or coaching change that they're no longer a priority, or an administration change sometimes that now puts them not as top of the charts in terms of the individuals that they want to bring in or bring back. A lot of those factors go into it from year to year.
That's interesting. So what you just mentioned, like, coaching change. So that's kind of like with the transfer portal with a lot of kids in college. I remember Brian Winking Adams. He played for Alcorn. He was on the show. He's actually one of my co-hosts of the segment we have. And he said, he was recruited by someone else when he went to Alcorn, but that coach left. And another coach was and he was not a priority to him because he didn't recruit him. So, the game was not around him, it was just different. And now he made me understand why a lot of kids get in the transfer portal because of that very thing. So would you say sometimes some of the NFL players, if they were recruited by someone, or not necessarily recruited, but their coach moved on, and they was like, I want to go to another team. Have you seen that happen before?
Yeah. And when a new coaches come in, also will the scheme of things be different. So there'll be
Right.
new verbiage, a new style of new verbiage, new wording,
Wow. Okay.
even a new whole, almost a whole new, like the building and so forth is strange, but the coaches will be different interacting. So you have different styles that some coaches are buddyish, while others, they'll only keep it business, or no time for having fun, or no
Okay.
time for it will always be a business minded atmosphere. And you get a sense, because if they've been in the coaching, especially in the NFL long enough, you get a sense from other teammates how that coach is,
Okay.
because the brotherhood is, we've played each other on several different levels, whether college level or little league, high school, a lot of the times, and having various cities. Not every player, his hometown, he might be playing for Pittsburgh, but his home is Florida. And I
Okay.
might have someone who went to the college that, uh, excuse me, uh, went to a different college, but played on the team that their coach was from. And so you get a chance to ask him about the coaches and so forth. And coaches, guys, guys know who their favorite coaches are and who they've learned the most or what style they kind of cater to.
Mhm.
Um, because my first year here at Buffalo, I didn't learn anything. I mean, they didn't believe in really playing rookies. So even my first year, only one player really dressed out some, and that was Jeff Burr, first-round draft pick, Notre Dame cornerback.
Okay.
He dressed out some. Nobody else really did until we had no possibility of making a playoff that year.
Mhm.
Once we didn't have no possibility to make a playoff that year, I think I played in the last game and I broke my arm and I didn't even know it was broken. I just kept playing because the
Wow.
day next day I was moving around, microwave and some other stuff, and noticed I told him I got a little bump here and it was sore, but it was a fracture, hairline fracture on my arm. But anyway, the coach, the defensive coordinator at that time was Walt Corey, and so he had superstars already in his linebacking class, in his linebacker group of Cornelius Bennett, of Daryl Talley, and Marcus Paddock, and Mark Maddox, and Keith Goganis, and 4 or 5 other great guys. And he would just run the tape and let it play. And
Mhm.
so young guys, he ain't spend too much time. We had to go to them and assistant coaches to ask them about particular plays. But then when Wade Phillips came in, the world of what to look for and how to strategize completely changed and opened up to me with
Okay.
Wade Phillips and Ted Cottrell. Yeah.
That's interesting. Wow. Um, it's just you don't even think that it's just a different world in what you just said. You may not get the information from the coach, but it depends on who it is. And I love Wade Phillips.
Hmm.
He seemed like a really, really nice guy. Um,
Hmm.
Marlo, was there anyone that you really, I know you said your cousin was who you idolized, but was there anybody in the NFL that you wanted to emulate? Did you ever play against them or play with them?
Not necessarily because a lot of that is harder. It's kind of like it's an odd thing where you kind of had to put that stuff to the side.
Okay.
I will say this though, when I was young, I love Pittsburgh Steelers, and so Franco Harris, I would say, if anybody, Franco Harris, I loved a lot. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know why we were able in Mississippi to able to see a lot of their games in the
We
black
really
and
did. I
gold.
remember those games.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I just I like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Probably had a lot to do with their success also, and being able to see their games, because I think it was only one channel that might show football
I
games,
think
or maybe two,
CBS.
three, yeah.
Mhm.
So, um, yeah, I would say that, but not really that. Not
Not really.
been around a bunch of superstars, but I don't really hold them in that particular
Yeah,
light. Just
exactly. Yeah, I
simple,
understand.
yeah.
I was just saying, like, because I'm a singer, and when, if I'm around Layla Hathaway or Fred
Mm,
that's like I'm chilling, but on the inside, I'm like, oh my freaking gosh, because their singing abilities, their talent is just so amazing to me. So
hmm.
I just wonder if sometimes athletes do the same thing, but I get it. So
Hmm.
after um you retired from the NFL, have you ever worked in with football in any type of capacity since then?
Not necessarily. Being that my father was a coach, I knew I didn't want to go down that path of
Okay.
coaching. I don't mind helping out in terms of analyzing or strategic things in
Mhm.
terms of a classroom, of a film room, but the everyday grind of being on the field or being so repetitive is just not in me. And to
I
you,
got you.
I didn't want my every day to day level of happiness and contention be behind a good or bad practice and a win and a loss.
Fair enough.
Because I cared so much for the game, I couldn't leave it there. And
Got
life
you.
is much bigger, than all essentially as it is entertainment, you
I'm with
know?
you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so it takes a lot out of you, as if you do it right, it should. And my father
Mhm.
was gone a lot. He loved it, loved being around his players, taking care of them, helping nurture them. You have to be not only a coach, a father, a mentor, a psychologist, a
Everything.
teacher. You're gonna essentially be every aspect of a man, from the model being to youth and to young men.
That takes a lot out of you.
Hmm.
Because I mean, if you like you said, if you're doing it right, and if you love children and you love the game of football, it's going to take a lot out of if you do it correctly. So
Yep.
I totally agree. So Marlo, as I mentioned earlier, you were inducted actually last week into JSU Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
proud of you. So proud of you. Your induction class included Quincy Coleman, Michael Fields, Christopher Gale, Derek Bo Lewis, and Erica Payton, just to name a few. It was quite a bit of them. How was that moment for you last week? And also when you first got the word that you would be inducted into the Hall of Fame finally?
Well, I must say this. I was a little bit shocked. Uh,
Really?
yeah, I was shocked because I got to give you some backstory. The backstory is this. I have been really sincerely running from it for about 10 plus years from it. Um, I wanted, if at all possible, for Fernando Smith and I to go in together.
Mm,
Since we came into Jackson State together,
okay.
we were both our first roommates together, and it's so much love. And if those who don't know, Fernando Smith at Jackson State, he wore number 90 and played linebacker and defensive end. I was drafted second round 1994 to the Minnesota Vikings. And phenomenal athlete, phenomenal athlete. Just ran like the wind for his size.
Mhm.
And we pushed each other to greatness. And I'm not sure if he's been back to Jackson State. And I want him to know how much love and how adorned and cherished he is.
Yes.
I heard this last time when I was back, I heard at least 2 or 3 stories about him that I never heard before. And not only did he play for Minnesota, he played for Baltimore, played for Carolina also. But that's what I have wanted. So it didn't work out that way. So my shock and surprise is because what happened literally was this. My mother went behind my back to my wife and had her fill out the paperwork
Thank
because
you, Mama.
I had it. And in her doing that, I see the wisdom in it, because none of us know how long we're going to be here on earth,
True.
you know, and she turned 80 this year. And it's some wisdom in that, point
Yeah.
blank. I leave it at that. There's some wisdom in that. Yeah.
I'm so glad she did it because sometimes, I know you wanted to be with your friend. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, especially these last 3 years, if it hadn't shown us how people are getting out of here left and
Mm-hmm.
right, I'm so thankful she did it and she was able to see you, be inducted.
Mm-hmm.
That's a blessing. So you're right. Well, Marlo, this honor was truly deserved because, dude, you put in the work. Let me give you some of the accolades of the
You
stuff
don't
that.
have to.
No, I'm gonna do it.
I
The
don't,
people gotta know.
okay,
You don't
okay,
want to
go
hear it,
ahead. I don't
but the
really,
audience has to know.
all right.
I love it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
In 1990, you were named SWAC Freshman of the Year. Throughout your whole career, you recorded 367 tackles, 14 sacks, and 3 interceptions, and you started every game your sophomore year. As a junior, you were named All SWAC after leading the conference in tackles. You were a first team All American selection by the Associated Press in your SWAC in your senior year. I'm sorry. You were also named to the All SWAC first team and nominated for the Dick Buckus Award in 1993. You were also a part of the JSU All Century team. Additional honors include being the 1994 East West Shrine Bowl selectee player, as well as a 1994 Senior Bowl selectee player before retiring from the NFL due to injuries. I know you don't want to hear that, but after hearing that, how does that make you feel? Because you were truly an intricate part in JSU football history. That's amazing. I'm getting chills because that's amazing. How does that make you feel?
Um, Ocean could have done more.
I love that.
I wish I could have done more. And let me not take those things for granted. Um, the blessing that
Mhm.
um the work, the coaches that have faith in you, teammates to spend time, extra time with you. Let me have this moment to thank them, those that have gone on and that are still around. I couldn't have done any of those things without coaching, teammates, trainers, equipment, individuals. I couldn't have done any of those things. Um, and I would say this, I wish I could have done more. I wish I could have done more as a collective group, not me doing more, but me and the group,
As
more
a
like
team.
titles. That's
Mhm.
what I would have ultimately would have loved. Swipe title every year. I wish I could have been a part of a group that got um, 4 SWAC titles. That's those are the things that stands the test of time. What you do collectively as a group and as a team, not the individual stuff. That individual stuff is fine, and first you have to get to certain individual things before it can be done as a team. But
Correct.
what lasts longer is the group accomplishment, not just mine. So that was I guess um what I say when I mean more me, I mean the team.
Right.
Mhm.
And well, and I get what you're saying, but also what you did it for the team. So
Mhm.
it was still a team effort. You didn't want to go out there and just, not do anything. So I totally get what you're saying. I really, really do.
Mhm.
How many SWAC championships?
I think only 1 or 2,
Two? Okay.
and even one of the years we did not live up to expectation. A
Mhm.
lot of the times, I think I avoid those type of individual acknowledgement is because it's so easy for anybody to get caught up in themselves and
That's
caught up
true.
thinking that they're not necessarily better or that they mean more, you
Mhm.
know, because of stuff from the past, and then shortly becomes a fall to them of
Right.
some nature, or not working as hard, or um, might belittle someone else from not doing the same thing. And I don't want that part of my inner being, you know.
Really, that's not your heart. That's not who you
Nah,
are.
that it had, of course, it has a lot just to do with being faith based and loving God and
Yeah.
being in church and a choir boy and usher and all those things are the core sense of a lot of it. From not holding myself much higher, than I should.
Mhm.
It just, man got a problem with ego a lot of times.
Yeah,
I always
that's
want to
true.
keep that in check. Yep.
I appreciate that. Marlo, last question. If you could go back, what would you tell 18-year-old Marlo? What would you tell him?
Um, Work, keep focused and bring more along with you. Uh, Encourage more to come along with me on that journey of staying focused in the classroom, staying focused at church, staying focused at building a better group, a bigger, larger group. Um, Probably something to that nature, because it's all right if you're doing the right thing, but it means more to do the right thing with a group of individuals all doing the right thing. Don't worry about being odd or being made fun at because you're doing the right thing. A lot of time, when you do the right thing, people will make
Trying to make you feel bad.
fun of you, right? Want you to feel odd, but that's probably it. Um,
I love it.
yeah, be kind of all and stay focused and grounded in that nature, and whatever success that's meant for you will come, in whatever way God intends it for. If it hadn't came, maybe that's a great thing, and you shouldn't have it because it's not meant for you.
Yeah, that's a good wisdom to give 18-year-old Marlo. And one more thing, you were saying you wish you had to focus more in school or whatever, or focus more on school. You were a mathematic engineering
Hmm.
major. First
Yeah,
of all, I wish I had known you because I was bribing my teachers because math is not my thing. So I was trying to get at least a C in algebra. You could have been my tutor, man. But
yeah.
well, Marlo, thank you so much for joining me today. But before we go, we play a game with our guests called You Can Get With This or You Can Get With That. And what that is a way for the guests and myself, the listeners and myself, to get to know the guests better. I'll ask you a few questions and you choose the best one that fits. No
Okay.
question, no answer is wrong. Would you rather travel the world for free for a year or have $50,000 to spend however you please?
Ooh, 3 for a year.
For
Oh,
$50,000, however you want to spend it.
yeah, the world. Yeah, the world free.
I
Travel
want
world
to
free.
travel.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. Would you rather be able to predict the future or forget anything you wanted from your past?
Predict the future.
Predict the future. Would you rather have a pause button or a rewind button on your life?
Rewind.
Rewind. Would you rather have your dream home or have the funds, it's another one, to travel as much as you wanted?
Funds as much as I wanted. Yeah, to travel as much as I wanted.
You know, I would love to have my dream home, but that traveling, because there's so much world to see, I really
Hmm.
rather do that. Would you rather be rich and hate what you do, or have just enough money to make ends meet and love what you do?
Make ends meet and love what I do.
Absolutely. Would you rather would you rather let bygones be bygones or get the final word?
Bygones be bygones. I'll never have to
Yeah,
have
you're not that type of dude.
nothing.
I want to
Anything.
get the final word. God's still working on me. Sometimes I got to have that last word. Would you rather be endlessly lucky and I don't believe in luck, but that's what it. Or know you've earned everything you've achieved. Rather than
Earn everything achieved.
or know you've earned everything you've achieved. I agree.
Said, or no, I've learned everything I achieved.
No, know you've earned everything you achieved. You want to be lucky at getting stuff, or do you want to know you've earned everything that you've achieved? Just all like all these accolades, you earned.
I think I'd rather earn it, I guess. Yeah, I'd rather earn it. Rather earn it.
Would you rather dismantle systems of oppression from the inside or the outside?
Ooh, on the inside is tough. I think I really do it from the outside. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
From the outside.
Would you rather hear a comforting lie or an uncomfortable truth?
Uncomfortable truth.
Yeah, give me the truth, period.
Mhm.
Would you rather find meaning in what you accomplish in life or in who you surround yourself with? You want me to read it again? Would you rather find
Surround
meaning-
myself with.
surround yourself with? Okay,
Mhm.
absolutely. Again, thank you, Marlo, for joining in. This has been so informative and fun. Thank you so much. Well, you're not really on social media, are you? Okay, never mind. Well, guys, you can follow me on Facebook at She Say Sports, Instagram, She Say Sports 23. I'm gonna get on my Twitter, I promise, so I'm not gonna even give that right now. But please subscribe to our YouTube page, She Say Sports. Well, until next time, this is Sonia with She Say Sports.
See you all.